Alright, so this video shows how to stitch our Ankara trouser. Now, I've made several videos on how to cut and how to gum, so this is just an addition to the sewing process. So if you don't know how to cut this, please kindly watch my previous videos which I have made on how to cut an Ankara outfit. So we will start by fixing the pocket. So this will be a very long video, so do well to watch till the very end so that you can get all the necessary information that will be shared in this tutorial. So this is the pocket facing. I'm trying to fix the pocket facing to the pocketing. So you fix it from here. So you stitch all the way down. So you stitch all the way down. So gently. Now you have several ways to do this. You can decide to fold the edges or stitch the pocketing. So for emphasis sake, I will try my best to explain to you the major difference in the left and right pockets. So here, for your right pocket, or for the pocket differences rather, you are going to, we slant one edge by 1.5 inch by the depth of the pocket mouth. That's this edge is being slanted. So this part is the part you attach to the main trouser. So for the pocket, you are going to slant the opposite direction, like, it faces each other this way. So you slant one edge so that by the time you turn it over, the right side is left, one is right, you get ahead. So now you fix it on the straight parts. You fix this pocket facing on the straight part. Fix it on the straight part of all of this. So carefully fix it on the straight part of this. Then you carefully arrange stitch it all through this way. So when you have sewn the pocket facings, cut your threads. So this is what we have right there. Then you bring one of the panels, then bring the pocketing, that the lining, that the facing is at the other side, like both direction. This is where you gummed on our trouser, right? So place this gum, this folded area, this notch point, 1/2 inch across the lining from beginning till the end, 1/2 inch from the beginning, and also 1/2 at the base here. This folded edge, we cross this part by 1/2 inch, and then carefully you stitch. You stitch all the way to this point. Stitch all the way to this point. Stitch all the way to this point. So when you have gotten to this stage, the next thing you will do, you cut your threads as usual, then fling this way and stitch 0 or 1/4, right? Stitch 1/4 at the pocket tip. So you make sure that all you have is properly arranged at the pocket tip, just like this. Then once you get to that point you notched, you stitch down in this form. You cut your threads, then you're going to bring the lining this way, the pocketing this way, and balance. So what you are balancing is the value which you used in notching the up region of the pocket. Like what you're replacing, right? Is what you used in notching of the up pocket area. So you carefully balance this properly, just like this. Balance it properly, just like this. So this should be within the range of 2.5 inches, right? It should be within the range of 2.5 inches from this point to this very point. 2.5. Whatever you use in notching is what you are going to replace it with. And then you stitch from this very point, stitch from here, cut your threads, trim off the excesses, just like this, and then make a stitch here, make a stitch right there. So this stitch is a temporary stitch that you must do. Cut your threads as well, raise the line trouser up, and then give a notch half inch beneath this pocketing and half inch inwards, just this way. Then you will tuck your hand inside, bring out the lining, and carefully you arrange the edge, arrange it just like this. Start from the point where the notching ended and start stitching. So start from that point where your notching ended. You stitch all through this way. After that, you can trim off some excesses just like this, and then push it in just this way. After you have pushed it in, then you are going to top stitch this edge nicely. You arrange this properly, then you are top stitching from this point. You top stitch. So if you are finding this thing interactive or very helpful, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right now so that you'll be notified when I make or post new videos just like this. Cut off the threads you have, and this is how you fix the front panel of your male pockets, the front pocket of your male shorts, male trouser, right? So this method is applicable both on shorts, trousers, female. It's so much applicable even on children or even on kids. This is how you fix the front pocket. So let's do the next one, and then I'll show you the next thing you are going to do as well. So now we have fixed our pockets. So the next you're going to do is to fix your linings before you go to your zip, right? So the linings has already been cut. Now you place the corresponding panels just this way. Remember that the fancy area of the lining should face up and not facing down. Please, very important, because most people do this mistake. They take the fancy area of the lining and face it downwards, which is very, very wrong. So it must face up. So then you place it in this form and then start to stitch. Now you're stitching from the weaved edge. Now you can as well fix this lining first before you go and weave, right? So you can stitch the lining first, and that is the actual thing you need to do, to fix the lining first before you weave. Then stitch at the edge where you must have weaved your trouser. Please make sure you don't stitch at the point where when you sew your trouser, the lining, the thread will be showing. So you must stitch it at that tip where the lining is. So gently stitch all through this way. Then remember that the lining was cut in excess so that we can do a little bit pleating. Now the essence of this pleating is to make sure that the lining does not fall short than the trouser frame, so that it doesn't shrink the trouser panel or make it look squeezed. So that's why you cut the lining in a bigger size, and then pleat the excesses at the middle, which will now give you room for the lining to also open up at any given time. So this is one of the tricks you will see. Then you stitch all down, all through this way. You stitch all through this way. So make sure that you're following the directions I am giving in this video. So once you have done, the next thing you do now is the second trouser, right? So you also stitch it this way before you start fixing your zipper or your zip. So cut the threads, and then I will do that. I'll show you the results. All right. So now, after you must have done that, the next thing you do now is to prepare your loop, the belt loop, or what they call belt holder. So you fold it this way, fold this way. Now the measurement is 1.5 by 24. So you can still double fold, like do it twice. Since it's Ankara, so let's do it this way. I think there's no need folding like English material. So this is Ankara, you double fold just like this, and then you top stitch. So only Ankara you can do like this. So if it's a pen trouser, you will have to tuck it in and bring it out. So stitch all the way from there, then stitch all the way from there till the very end of the 24 inches. So now I have finished sewing the loop. So what I will do now is I will cut 6 loops. Remember, there are 6 loops in a trouser. So I will cut 6 loops. Each will be 4 inches, right? So 4 inches. I will cut them. I will cut 6 of it. I will cut 6 of it. This is 2. 4, and then 6. That's why I had to cut longer than expected. So 6 of them. Then it's now time for us to mark and log the waist. So what you do is you have to measure your waist circumference here. You have to put your waist circumference right here. Put your waist circumference right here, divided by 2. So here we start from the zip, center of the zip. From here, measure. So measure whatever waist you have. Then you mark your waist circumference. Usually it's always 1 inch or 1.5 left, depending on what you have at the inside. So after you have gotten what you wanted, you mark your waist circumference to know what is left. 1 inch is always left if you have followed my pattern. Then it's now time for you to mark where you are going to fix your belt loops on. So here you measure from the side of the pocket edge, 2.5 inches inside, 2.5 inches inside. From the center, or from the side joining, 2 inches backwards. Remember, 1 inch was left at the center panel, and then 1.5 from the joining, right? So this is it. So do the same thing on the other side. From the side pocket, 2.5. From the side joining, 2 inches. And remember, whatever you have left, then you add it to 1.5, and then you mark it there. So now you have gotten to this stage. Now time for us to start fixing our band, right? So now the band will be a jointed band. That was why I created that space. I wanted to lock it from the front, so it will be a jointed band. So I made the band to be long enough. You know, the essence of making the band to be closed from the back panel is because of increment. In case your customer demands for increment in size of the waist, you can now close the back panel and you from there you can do your adjustments properly. So once you have unzipped your trouser, now the next you will do is to start fixing this. So before you do that, make sure you mark chalk indicating where you will sew them from so that you don't, one of the bands will not be higher than the other one, right? So this is also a point where most people also make mistakes. So push the band half an inch or 1 inch out that way, and then you start from there and stitch. Bear in mind that that iron stopper is somewhere close, so make sure you roll the machine at that point so that it doesn't break your needle or spoil your machine. So once you have passed the iron zip iron stop, then be inserting your loops on the points you marked, inserting your loops on the points you marked, just this way. Insert the loops on the points you marked, just this way, as you can see. Insert the loops on the points you marked. So make sure you don't forget the points where you marked. Insert your loops at the appropriate positions. So this is how you attach your band on your Ankara trouser. So the reason I did it jointed, like I said, is to make sure that I use what's it called, threaded band, so that in case of any complaint, look at it. You see. So let's attach the second one. Let's attach or fix the second band. So how do you fix it? By simply starting as well from the back. Start from the back as well, and place it equally this way, because this one you don't need to push it out. Place it equally this way, and then insert your loops. Don't forget to insert your loops. Insert your loops. Insert your loops. Go all the way these points. So carefully do this. So I think I will join this band in the front. I will join the band. So I will join the band a little bit so that it can cover here. So I just cut out. I use the front panel of the first one. I will use this to join it. So let's join from here. Let's join from here. And make sure that it corresponds with this. So you see the essence of making your band to be way longer, so that everything will be covered. So your band must be way longer. So now I have joined the band. So just to complete it. So you make sure you stitch it all through. Be mindful of the iron stopper. It's very important. Be mindful of the iron stopper. It tends to break needles, and if it does, it tends to send heavy signal to the machine. So now that you have fixed this, it's now time for us to close the um, the bands, right? So what do you do first? Before you close the band, you have to hold the loops down by half an inch half an inch from the band point, stitch the loops down by half an inch, all the loops, right? Sew it down by half an inch, stitch them one after the other. Take your time to do this, don't be in a haste. Take your time to do this, don't be in a haste. Stitch all the loops half an inch down, 0.5 inch down. So this helps the belt to enter properly. Please note how it's being done. Your loops must be, even in this trouser, this must be done. So now the loops are done closing. It's now time for us to lock the band. So the band, you fold it this way and make sure you stitch from the exact point where the flap ended. Fold backwards, stitch from the exact point where the flap ended. It goes all through this way, just at the tip of it. So this is how you do it. Then you cut off the excesses just like this, and then you hold it this way, fling it inwards so it comes out in this form. You tuck out the edge properly. So this is what we have achieved right here. So do the same thing on the other side. Fold it, but before you do that as well, it's advisable that you cross check to see if they are the same. They are the same, so you don't need to panic anymore. Then fold it backward as well, just this way, and then stitch it from the point where the band, the flap as well ended. So just like this. Sew it from here. So this is how it is. Cut a thread. Cut a thread. Cut a thread. Then hold it as well and tuck it out. So it comes out in this form. Comes out in this form. This is what we have. Now it's now time for us to lock the back waistline. So locking the back waistline simply means closing with that measurement that we used in marking. So before that, you make sure you align the bands this way. The bands must correspond just like this, so that you'll be very certain that it will tally when you sew. Open up all the hole allowances from here. Then it's advisable that you first of all lock the main band this way. Lock from the main point of the band. So this area that the back panel, you are meant to double stitch it so that it reinforces the trouser not to tear off easily. So at the second stitching, which we are going to stitch still on top of the first one we did, is now when you use to lock the rest of the band. So you carefully stitch it as well on top, or very close to the first one you made. Don't create a second line. You get your hair. Stitch it on top. You the first one you made. Then at this point, it's now when you now lock the band outrightly to the very end. So here, this is done. Then you cut your threads. You cut your thread. After you have done this now the next you will do is to open press. Look at how the band is corresponding, right? So the next you will do now is you open press all the back waistline just this way. Open press this area. Then I will compress it. Then fold this like V. Give it a V shape this way. Fold and then fold the last one. So this must be corresponded like this. And then, for emphasis sake, for you to be perfect, you can just make a stitch at the center of the band this way. So this is a temporary stitch actually, which can be loosed or removed afterwards, or you can still leave it just to hold this band firmly. You can use your hand needle to pack it. And after you have done that, then the next thing you do now is to start locking the down part of the band. So you top stitch on top, you top stitch on top of it, top stitch on top of the band, just like this. I know you'll be worried how would the loop be fixed. Don't worry, I'll show you, right? So if you have been learning from this video and you have watched to this very point, please don't forget to like this video. Give me a thumbs up in this video. Comment, tell me where you're watching from, so I will know where I have most of my followers from, right? So now I have gotten to the very end of it, to the very end of the band. You see how neatly fixed, you see the neatness of the band. Even if you're sewing Ankara, you must pay attention to details. You don't just need to rush and then end up regretting or sewing trash. So you just have to be careful and patient enough. Even if it takes you hours, don't worry. At the end of the day, your finished product is what matters, not the hours or the time frame you use in the sewing. So now you are going to top stitch this band. So this top stitching is now where the loops come in. These ones, so the loops now you have to drag them. You have to drag them to lap firmly this way, and then fold the excesses this just like this. It must lap. You should not slack, right? Please note, it must lap. You should never slack. Then stitch. So when you get there, you have to raise your machine paper a bit up so I can clip it. Then double stitch it. Double stitch it. So do the same thing on the second one as well. So this is what you do on all the 6 loops that you have installed on this band, right? So you must take your time and do it this way. So 6 of them, you top stitch and fix the loops as shown. So it's not something that you overlook, right? So this is a very interesting part of the sewing. So you have to also pay attention to details. Even if you're ending it, you're almost done, but then you still need to watch what you're making and make sure that everything is falling in place. So now you stitch all along. So after the last loop, the next, okay, this is not the last loop, this is the second to last. So make sure everything is arranged. It's very important. Be arranged. So you want to get to the last loop. So this is the end of the band stitching. So you carefully go through the band again. Cut the excesses at the underneath this way. Cut the excesses, cut all the excess of the loops, right? Cut all of them. But while doing this, don't make the mistake of cutting the main band. Please, very important. Don't make the mistake of cutting the main and the loop, right? While you're cutting the threads, you also cut the excesses of the band. Cut the band excess, the loop excesses, not the band. So this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful this is on already. So now we are going to apply the measurements of your customer. So before you apply the measurements, you need to go and iron this trouser. Like you need to balance it this way. When you place it this way and balance it, so you need to iron this side to lap, so that this line will come here, like the both will join here. Because if you don't do this, you might end up having a wrong closure. Most people do this mistake. So once you have done that, you now apply the knee circumference, the ankle, the lap, connect with a curve, then stitch. I will do that and come and show you results. All right, so now I have marked my measurements and I have ironed the sides. Look at how relaxed it is. So it's now time for me to thread. So please make sure that before you start joining or locking the trouser, you must have ironed it. Very important too. Very, very important. If you don't iron it, you'll have issues with the trouser. So the both legs will be equal here. Then you start sewing. So you can use chalk and mark your own. Don't guess it because I'm already used to it. That's why I do not mark, like I just drop chalks on the line I am sewing. So your hand must be as perfect as possible. So on the crotch points, when you get to the crotch point, I will show you. So I'll align properly this way. So the crotch point, the center crotch must correspond and it must be opened. Please, the allowances or the allowance on both back and front must be opened this way and the both of them must tally at the center. Note, very important. You must tally at the center just like this. And then you stitch, you stitch. So this is how it goes, right? So the last but not the least here is to hem or to fold the leg. So that's the last part of the trouser, is to fold. Now I'm done with the closing. I will go to my ironing table, apply my length of trouser, and then do the necessary folding measurements. Here I have ironed my trouser all through. You see how well neat it is. Then I have folded the leg. Then I will now, stitch it down. So if you have watched this video to this very point, I believe to sew trouser will no longer be an issue to you, because this is an eye-opener and one of the best videos you can see on the internet, unedited, on how to stitch or make a complete Ankara trouser. So if you love what you have just watched, please kindly give me a thumbs up, give me a follow as well, and subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel so that I will be encouraged to make more videos just like this. So this is how you stitch or you fold the hem. You just have to fold it and then you carefully arrange it this way. Fold and carefully arrange. Make sure that the side openings are open, the side joinings rather are open properly while you stitch inside. So I will do this on the second leg and then that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye for now.